Have you ever noticed that your moments of greatest happiness are often met with the coldest responses at home? Imagine sharing a massive life achievement, a beautiful new relationship, or simply experiencing a quiet moment of pure, unadulterated peace, only to watch the room instantly drop to freezing temperatures. It is one of the most confusing and heartbreaking experiences a person can go through, to look into the eyes of the people who raised you, expecting a reflection of pride, warmth, or celebration, and seeing instead a wall of resentment, contempt, or an immediate effort to bring you down. This unsettling reaction leaves you feeling profoundly isolated, making you second-guess your own achievements and forcing you to swallow your excitement just to keep the peace. You find yourself wondering why the people who are supposed to love you the most seem entirely incapable of celebrating your wins. This video will expose the rigid psychological mechanics behind this painful reality. You are going to understand exactly how the narcissistic mind operates, why your personal joy feels like an existential threat to a narcissistic parent, and how this chronic emotional sabotage has silently rewired your nervous system over the years. More importantly, you will discover the tools to break free from this hidden trap, allowing you to reclaim your absolute right to be happy, peaceful, and successful without ever asking for their validation or permission again. The nature of the conflict: when your happiness is an objective threat. You need to realize that the negative reaction you get from a narcissistic parent when you are happy is completely deliberate. They operate on a very basic mentality, where life is just a competition with winners and losers. In their minds, there is only a limited amount of good energy available in the world. When they see you smiling or celebrating, they do not think about your hard work or feel happy for you. They genuinely believe that your happiness takes something valuable away from them, almost like you are draining their own importance. This mindset turns your normal life achievements into a direct attack on their ego. They cannot just sit back and watch you enjoy yourself, because your high energy highlights their own constant dissatisfaction with life. Your positive mood naturally irritates them and forces them to face their own hidden insecurities. To protect their pride, they feel an immediate urge to disrupt your mood. They have to do something to lower your energy levels until you look just as miserable as they feel inside. This means you are dealing with a parent who treats your emotional success as an act of defiance. They do not want a thriving, independent child, because that version of you is too hard to handle. They want you to stay in a predictable, low-energy state where you are easy to influence. Every time you show true, unfiltered happiness, you are accidentally starting a war with their need for total dominance. Your joy is a threat because it proves they do not own your mind. 7 psychological dynamics behind why narcissistic parents hate your joy. 1. When you are happy, you stop absorbing their anxiety. A narcissistic parent uses you as a trash can for all their bad moods, unmanaged stress, and internal chaos. They expect you to carry the weight of their bad days and constantly fix the atmosphere in the house. You probably grew up learning how to walk quietly, check the look on their face, and change your behavior just to keep them calm. Your entire childhood was likely spent managing their messy emotions instead of focusing on your own growth. When you feel happy, your brain naturally stops focusing on their problems. Your positive energy shields you from their negative vibes, and you stop picking up the anxiety they throw at you. You become too busy enjoying your own life, your friends, or your hobbies to care about their latest mood swing. This sudden lack of attention makes them panic because they no longer have an easy target to dump their emotional garbage onto. They absolutely hate this change because it leaves them stuck with their own bad feelings. When you stop acting as their emotional cushion, they have to face their own internal mess without any help. They will try to crush your good mood simply to force you back into your old job. They need you to feel anxious again, so you will go back to focusing entirely on making them comfortable. 2. They cannot control an emotionally independent person. Control in a toxic household relies entirely on making sure you depend on the parent for everything. A narcissistic parent wants you to constantly ask for their permission, their advice, and their approval before you feel good about yourself. If they can control how you feel about your own actions, they can easily dictate your entire life. They use your need for their validation as a remote control to guide your choices and keep you dependent. True happiness destroys this dynamic because it is a completely independent emotion. When you find joy in your own achievements or outside relationships, you create your own source of validation. You stop looking at them to tell you if you are good enough because you already know you are doing well. This sudden self-sufficiency terrifies them because it means their usual threats of rejection or disapproval do not work on you anymore. They realize that when you are genuinely happy from within, they lose their power over you. They can no longer threaten to take away their love, to make you do what they want, because you do not need their love to feel complete. They attack your joy because it represents your freedom. They want to break your confidence, so you will come crawling back to them for emotional reassurance. 3. Your happiness threatens the role you were assigned. Toxic families operate like a business where every member has a strict job description. The narcissistic parent acts as the boss, and they assigned you a role that serves their needs, not yours. You were likely cast as the family servant, the scapegoat who gets blamed for every problem, or the permanent failure who makes the parent look smart. Your only purpose in their system was to stay small, quiet, and completely predictable. When you start healing and enjoying your life, you completely walk out on that job. You stop acting like the broken person they told you were, and you start setting firm boundaries. This throws the whole family dynamic out of order because the parent relies on your submission to feel powerful. Your happiness proves to everyone that the family rules are broken and that you are no longer playing along. This independence makes the parent furious because they cannot predict your next move. They see your growth as a personal betrayal and a rebellion against their authority. They will try to drag you back into your old, unhappy role by using guilt trips or insults. They need to break your spirit to fix the family machine and put you back where they think you belong. 4. Your joy cuts off their narcissistic supply. A narcissistic parent survives on a constant stream of attention and dramatic reactions from the people around them. They need to know they have a massive impact on your life, and they do not care if that impact is positive or negative. In fact, seeing you cry, panic, or beg for their forgiveness satisfies their ego just as much as praise. Your emotional distress gives them a twisted sense of importance and validation. Your peace of mind completely shuts down this emotional pipeline. When you are calm and happy, you stop reacting to their dramatic outbursts, fake illnesses, and petty insults. You learn to look at their toxic behavior without getting angry or upset. This emotional neutrality leaves them completely starved of the attention they crave, making them feel invisible and unimportant in their own home. They view your happiness as a direct attack on their psychological survival because it cuts off their supply. They cannot stand being ignored or treated as irrelevant, so they will deliberately create a crisis to ruin your day. They will insult your achievements or bring up past mistakes just to get a reaction out of you. They need to see you hurt to prove to themselves that they still matter. 5. They turn joy into a signal of danger. To understand why you struggle with happiness today, you have to look at how your parent trained you as a child in a narcissistic home. Letting your guard down to laugh or celebrate was the most dangerous thing you could do. The exact moment you showed excitement was the exact moment your parent would strike. They would wait until you were happy to deliver a harsh insult, take away a favorite toy, or start a huge argument. They systematically taught your brain that good times are always followed by immediate pain. They attached fear to your achievements so you would never feel safe enough to celebrate. Over time, this constant cycle rewired your entire nervous system. Your brain stopped viewing happiness as a reward and started viewing it as a warning sign that an attack was coming. This is why, even as an adult, a good day can make your heart race with anxiety. Your body is still trapped in that childhood survival mode, waiting for the punishment that your parent always delivered. You have been conditioned to believe that smiling makes you an open target. You cannot relax because your history has taught you that peace is just a trap. 6. Your peace exposes their internal void. Narcissistic parents live a total lie based on the idea that they are perfect, superior, and completely blameless. They use this arrogant attitude to hide a massive internal void of deep shame, loneliness, and self-hatred. They cannot generate real happiness from within, so they copy it from others or fake it for the public. They spend their entire lives running away from the reality of their own empty emotional state. Your authentic joy acts as a direct spotlight on that hidden emptiness. When they see you experiencing genuine peace, love, or satisfaction, they are forced to look at what they are missing. The contrast between your vibrant emotional life and their miserable internal world is too painful for them to handle. Your happiness highlights their personal failure to ever find true contentment. Because their ego will not let them admit they are jealous or broken, they turn that pain into anger directed at you. They decide that if they cannot feel real joy, then you should not be allowed to have it either. They try to destroy your happiness as a desperate way to turn off that spotlight. They want to ruin your peace so they can forget about their own empty lives. 7. You refuse to inherit their generational trauma. Trauma in a toxic family is usually passed down from one generation to the next, like a mandatory family curse. Narcissistic parents carry bitter wounds from their own childhoods, but instead of doing the work to heal, they decide to pass that suffering down to you. They subconsciously believe that because they had a miserable life, you should have to struggle through the exact same limitations, pain, and sacrifices. Choosing to be happy and successful is an act of total rebellion against this family tradition. When you work on your mental health and build a beautiful life, you are actively refusing to carry their emotional baggage. Your success proves that pain is not a permanent destiny, but a personal choice. You show them that it was entirely possible to heal, which completely ruins their favorite excuse of being a helpless victim. This realization makes them intensely bitter because your life completely invalidates their life choices. If you can break the cycle and find peace, it means they could have done it too, but simply failed. They hate your joy because it robs them of their victim status. They will try to pull you back into the family misery to prove that escape is impossible. The shattered glass scar, the price you pay for stolen joy. 1. The curse of waiting for the second shoe to drop. Growing up with a parent who hates your joy leaves a lasting scar that completely ruins your present moments. You lose the basic ability to sit back and enjoy a good day without feeling a heavy sense of impending doom. The very second your life starts going well, a wave of random anxiety hits you, and your brain immediately switches into survival mode. You find yourself constantly looking around, waiting for the disaster that you believe is right around the corner. You cannot fully commit to a loving relationship, a great job, or a peaceful weekend because you are convinced that this comfort is a mistake. Your childhood trained you to believe that happiness is expensive and that you will always have to pay for it with intense pain later on. 2. The mechanism of self-sabotage. When the anxiety of being happy becomes too loud to ignore, your brain will actually start destroying your own success because unexpected attacks from your parent hurt the most when you were young. Your adult mind decides it is safer to control the damage yourself. You start predicting the worst outcomes and acting on them before anything even happens. You might find yourself starting a random argument with a healthy partner, blowing a deadline at a great job, or turning down an amazing opportunity. You do these destructive things because living in a familiar state of stress feels much safer than waiting for someone else to come steal your joy. You break your own life on purpose so no one else can surprise you with pain. 3. The weight of toxic guilt. A narcissistic upbringing programs your brain to feel like your personal success is a direct crime against your family. You are conditioned to believe that buying a nice home, making good money, or feeling emotionally secure means you are abandoning your parents. You feel a constant pressure to stay at their level just to prove you still care. This means that whenever you experience a moment of pure relaxation or victory, a wave of intense shame immediately follows. A voice in your head asks how you dare to smile or spend money when your parents are still lonely, broke, or miserable. This toxic guilt forces you to hide your achievements and live a small, restricted life just to keep your parent happy. 4. The reality of emotional numbing. To survive a childhood where your favorite things were constantly targeted, criticized, or taken away, you had to learn how to turn off your feelings. You stopped showing excitement, hid your passions, and wore a blank expression to protect yourself. You realized that if you did not show love for anything, your parent would have nothing to use against you. The problem is that this protective numbness stays with you long after you move out of that toxic house. You end up living your adult life in total grayscale, unable to feel the full depth of any emotion. You do not experience deep depression, but you are also completely blocked from feeling true excitement or passion. You stay safe from their criticism, but you remain trapped in a boring, empty existence. The realization that a parent cannot tolerate your happiness is a heavy burden to carry, but it also contains the key to your ultimate freedom. Their inability to celebrate you is not a reflection of your worth. It is the definitive proof of their limitation. Your joy was never the problem. Their broken lens was. You do not owe anyone your misery as a payment for their love. You have the absolute right to build a life that is loud, vibrant, and completely independent of their approval. Step out of the cage of their expectations. Breathe in the peace you have fought so hard to secure, and own your happiness without an ounce of apology. Thank you so much for watching this video until the very end. If these insights helped you make sense of your experience and validated what you have been through, please press the like button to help this message reach others who need it. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel for more deep psychological content to assist you on your journey of healing and self-discovery.